What's up, ladies and gentlemen? I hope today was a good day for most of you. Yes, I said most of you. I hope today was real shitty for others. You know who you are. Oh, Lady O is in the house. Cash is here. What's up, James? So, tonight, well, let me ask any of you. Let me ask you this. Did you guys read the live description of what the live streams are going to be about tonight? Candy wrapper.
Oh, candy wrapper. Good to see you.
So long time no see. Absolutely good to see you too, sweetheart. Well, okay, well, for fuck's sake, why would I expect you guys to read the description of the live stream? Right? I know why you don't read it, Cash.
He's a rebel.
It's because he's just a fucking gangster. Read a rebel. Be a rebel. A rebel without a clue.
Rebel
Rebel without a cause. A rebel without a clue. Same difference in my book.
An awesome dude. He's a great guy.
Yes, he is.
Very kind. Caring.
Remember what we are here for and be respectful to all who are here. Okay? That is very important. Importante. So tonight we will be discussing the number of the number of registered sex offenders currently in the U.S. and compare them to the numbers from last year. I think we're all going to be a little bit more disgusted. We will also be discussing SORNA, SORNA, if I remember. Sorry, I got kind of stoned, and it's been a long fucking day. That started with me at the emergency room. With what? None of your fucking business. We will also be discussing some of the problems with SORNA. And stuff like that tonight. So, without any further ado, we will bust through the first 10 state comparisons. But yes, we are going to go through all 50 of them. Registered sex offenders in the United States 2023 versus 2024. 2023, there were over 7. Can we start this whole thing over again? In 2023, there were over 786,000 registered sex offenders in the United States as of February 2023. 2024, the number increased to approximately 795,066 by August of 2024. I'm absolutely positive that by January 1st, we will have 800,000 registered sex offenders in the United States. Rock bottom. Number one state. 2023, Texas had 100,989 registered sex offenders. 2024, that's down to 75,710 registered sex offenders. That's a 25,000 gap. 25,000 person loss. Where did they all go? Oh, that's right. That's right. That's right. That's right. They get let off and they no longer have to fucking register. So there you go. 25,000 registered sex offenders are no longer, well, I'm sure there's some that died and I really don't care what happened to them, but there's 25,000 of them that now walk the streets that are no longer labeled as a sex offender. Yeah, Mom, I worry about that shit with you, for real. She said most of them live in my county. California, 61,746 in 2023 compared to this year is down just a little over 1,000 at 60,615. New York stayed about the same, had 42,871 registered sex offenders last year and 42,985 registered sex offenders this year. Florida, 36. Blah, blah. Florida, 32,136 compared to 2024, 32,460. Michigan, 40,176 compared to this year, 40,391. And you're right. You're right. You're absolutely right, Catch. In a way, it means they catching more. Yep, it does. But in turn, that also means that there are even that many more that are getting away with it.
Not going, not happening.
Illinois, 33,269 compared to this year at 34,056 registered sex offenders. As many out there yet to be registered or indeed found. Yep. Oregon, 32,715 compared to this year at 33,421. North Carolina in 2023 was 27,684 compared to this year at 27,864. Virginia, 15,162 compared to this year. This is huge. Virginia had 15,162 registered sex offenders in 2023, and this year they have gone up more than 10,000 registered sex offenders to 29,202 registered sex offenders in Virginia. Wisconsin, 26,353 registered sex offenders in 2023, and that is up slightly to 26,972. Increase in numbers. The total number of registered sex offenders increased by about 8,000 from 2023 to 2024. Texas and California consistently have the highest numbers of registered sex offenders, higher populations of people. States like Oregon, Arkansas, and Alaska have the highest rates of sex offenders per 100,000 residents. This data indicates a steady increase in the number of registered sex offenders across the United States. This trend highlights the importance of ongoing monitoring and preventative measures to address sexual offenses. Now for the rest of them. I'm still here just listening. All right, Candy Rapper. Alabama from 11,132 to 11,500 this year. Alaska, 3,336 to 3,400 this year. Arizona, 9,891 up to 10,200. Arkansas, 17,439 up to 17,800. Colorado, 19,839 up to 20,100. Connecticut, 5,991 up to 6,100. Delaware, 4,315 up to 4,400. District of Columbia, 1,044. Yeah. It's up 6 to 1,050. Did they cut you right there?
Do what?
They cut you right there?
No. So I was saying, like, and I got one on the other side too. And then look at this. There's a smaller one. See it? There.
What the fuck's that about?
No, man. So yeah, it's really sore too. Like when I press on it. I'm freaking out.
Yeah, we'll have to get hold of them tomorrow morning.
Oh, it looks bad, huh? Like, what the hell is it? It's like, it looks like a giant blood blister or something. Like, weird.
Georgia, 24,238 to 24,500. Hawaii, 3,071 up to 3,100. Idaho is up 88 sex offenders from 5,022 to 5,100. Indiana, 13,527 up to 13,600. Iowa, 6,313 up to 6,400. Kansas, 10,143 up to 10,200. Kentucky, 8,984 up to 9,100. Louisiana in 2023, 12,975 is up to 13,100. Maine, 2,923 up to 3,000 even. Registered sex offenders. Not Wisconsin's up 5,000. They're up to a total of 5,000. Is that what it said? Hang on. Just remember where I was at, please. Wisconsin went from 26,353 up to 26,972. Token candy wrapper. Just be glad you caught me on a good day. I haven't been in a very good mood the last few days, and Aaron already knows all about it. Yes, I do. What's up, Team Rose? Thanks for hitting the like. Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate it. We left off with Maine. Maryland, 6,783 last year to 6,800 this year. Massachusetts, 5,214 up to 5,300. Minnesota, 1,500 up to 1,550. Mississippi, 8,230 is up to 8,300. Missouri, 19,754 is up to 20,000 even registered sex offenders. Montana, 6,485 is up to 6,500. Nebraska, 5,016 up to 5,100. Nevada, 7,332 sex offenders, and 2023 is up to 7,400 in 2024. New Hampshire, 2,695 is up only 5 registered sex offenders to 2,700. New Jersey, 4,655 is up to 4,700. New Mexico in 2023 had 2,834 registered sex offenders, and they are up to 2,900 registered sex offenders in 2024. North Dakota, 1,940 in 2023 is up to 2,000 even in 2024. Ohio, 18,656 is up to 18,800. Oklahoma, 7,068 up to 7,100. Pennsylvania, 24,116 registered sex offenders in 2023 is up to 24,300 registered sex offenders in 2024. Rhode Island, 1,343 in 2023 is up to 1,350 in 2024. South Carolina, 16,058 is up to 16,200 even. South Dakota, 3,825 is up to 3,900. Tennessee, 19,516 registered sex offenders in 2023 is up to 19,700 in 2024. Utah, from 9,758 registered sex offenders to 9,800 in 2024. Vermont, 1,246 gained 4 registered sex offenders in 2024. They are up to 1,250. Washington, 6,437 in 2023 is up to 6,500 even in 2024. Virginia, 6,322 is up to 6,400 even. Wyoming, 2,504 is up to 2,550. Aaron, it was a random state and random number. We're saying it is like you are reading the music charts, but it's unfortunately not music. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, bud. What does it say on the paper? It's an original crust. It's an original crust. Like 12 to 18 minutes, I think, something like that. Oh, lady, oh, you got what I meant. I get what you meant now, Cass. Sometimes, I need a little explanation in. Okay. Okay. I'll go over this one more time. The increase in numbers was they gained 8,000 registered sex offenders in 2024, and it's not over yet. Here's the thing that scares me, that gets me, and really actually pisses me off. So, if we gained 8,000 registered sex offenders on the National Sex Offender Registry, how many do you think didn't get caught? How many do you think walked in the courtroom and beat the charges? How many do you think went in the courtroom and got a plea bargain? I guarantee you there was a lot more than 8,000 of them. Sex Offender Registration and Notification Act, SORNA. The Sex Offender Registration and Notification Act, or SORNA, S-O-R-N-A, is part of the Adam Walsh Child Protection and Safety Act of 2016. It establishes a comprehensive national system for the registration of sex offenders. What's up, Darlene? Key aspects of SORNA include registration requirements. Sex offenders must register in each jurisdiction where they live, work, or attend school. Public notification. Information about registered sex offenders is made available to the public through state websites and other means. In-person verification. Offenders are required to periodically appear in person to verify and update their registration information. Federal crime for noncompliance. What's up, Nature Sounds? It is a federal crime to knowingly fail to register or update registration as required. Challenges with the National Sex Offender Registry. Boy, it's got a lot. It's got a lot. It's cooking right now. Catch this up. You're right, Mom. It is fucking sad. Darlene is very beautiful. Yes, sirree, Bob. What's up, Nature Sounds? Darlene, glad you're here. Cash. Glad to see you too, old lady. Nature Sounds. Hi, old lady, and everyone. think they putting a pizza in the oven. Yep, my son is. Yep. Hit that stinking thumbs up, you guys. Come on now. Come on now. Let's switch this up for a minute. What's up, dude?
How long have you been on live?
20 minutes.
20 minutes?
Yep. What's up?
Just wondering.
Cash says you need to start doing more live streams, dude.
I just finished a 2-hour one.
Did you? I didn't get a notification. Why don't you let me know?
Mm-hmm.
You don't want me to be part of it now?
No, it's not that.
See, no, it's not. No.
I don't even know if I can do that.
Do what?
Like, if you're subscribed, don't you already get notifications? Or did you just not push the bell thing?
Hey, Dad, I'm getting ready to go live. You should come over and check out my channel.
Well, yeah, but look what you're doing now.
What do you mean?
You're on live now.
But I just started. You started 2 hours ago.
Well, I guess, I don't know. Make sure that
Mm-hmm. I got, dude,
the bell's on.
dude.
Just saying.
The bell is on, dude.
A 2-hour one.
The bell is on, dude.
Can't say I'm not doing streams because I just did one.
More streams.
I just did one.
How many streams have you done in a week?
I've been doing midterm.
Well, there you go. See, more streams.
Where's my mom?
She went to go get some milk, I think. What's up, What's up, Opa? Yes, indeed. Happy Indigenous Day.
Maybe.
Come on, don't be late, bro.
Maybe.
I did get a notification. Cash got a notification. So there you go. Hey, Cash, can you drop my son's channel link and my poetry link if you could? And your link, Mom, you could do the same if you would. All right. Challenges with the National Sex Offender Registry. Effectiveness and public safety. Limited impact on recidivism. Research indicates that sex offender registries do not significantly reduce recidivism rates. In some cases, the restrictions imposed may even increase the likelihood of reoffenses. He said, nah. Opa, bopa. Overly broad categories. The term sex offender encompasses a wide range of offenses, from minor infractions to severe crimes. This broad categorization can dilute the focus on high-risk offenders, and I don't believe that. Social and economic impact, stigmatization, and isolation. Registered sex offenders often face several social stigma, leading to difficulties in finding employment and housing. This isolation can hinder rehabilitation and reintegration into society. And you know what I say? I don't care. I don't care. I don't care if they have a hard time finding a job. I don't care if they have I don't care if they ever get a job. I don't. These abusers make their victims' lives so hard and filled with so much struggle that I don't give a shit if they got struggle. I know, right, Cash? Working you to the bone, man. Holy shit. That's okay, Cash. You can take a break. Mama get it. Oh shit. Public shunning and harassment. And I don't care. I don't care that they struggle with all this shit. I don't. I don't. Public shunning and harassment. Offenders may experience harassment, threats, and violence from the community, which can exacerbate their marginalization. Whatever. Administrative and legal issues. Inconsistent implementations. There are variations in how different states implement SORNA, leading to inconsistencies in registrations and notification practices. Maintaining and updating the registry requires significant resources which can strain local law enforcement agencies. So let them be strained. That's when I say let them be strained. Ethical dilemmas. Balancing public safety with the rights of offenders present. Ongoing ethical challenges. I don't care. While the intent behind SORNA is to enhance public safety, the current system faces significant challenges that limit its effectiveness. Addressing these issues requires a balanced approach that considers both public safety and the rights of rehabilitation of offenders. I don't believe they can be, so I don't care. Failing to comply with sex offender registration requirements is considered a federal crime under the Sex Offender Registration and Notification Act, specifically under 18 USC subsection 2250A. Any individual who is required to register as a sex offender and knowingly fails to do so can face severe penalties, including fines and up to 10 years in prison. If the noncompliance is associated with committing a violent crime, the penalties can be even more severe, potentially leading up to 30 years in prison. This federal law aims to ensure that sex offenders are properly monitored and that their whereabouts are known to law enforcement agencies to enhance public safety. So one of the biggest things, one of the biggest problems with SORNA and with the NSOR is there's nobody there monitoring them really. There's not. It's bullshit. Monitoring compliance, regular check-ins, in-person verification. Offenders are required to periodically appear in person to verify and update their registration information. This can be quarterly, semi-annually, or annually, depending on the offender's risk level. I don't think there should be levels. There should be one level. You're a pedo. That's the bottom line. And you should have to stay on that list forever. Home visits. Law enforcement officers may conduct unannounced home visits to ensure that offenders are residing at their registered addresses. But see, here's the problem with that. These only happen when they're still on probation or parole. Once they get released off probation and parole, this don't happen anymore. She was for a minute. Again, this next one falls under the guidelines of being on probation and parole. You're right, Cash. It is like what we said last night. A child predator is not the old man with a long coat on a bench in a park. They are any age and in many very locations or live situations. Absolutely correct, Cash. It can be the 23-year-old teaching assistant, or the police officer, or a stay-at-home parent, or a stepbrother, a half-brother or sister, a cousin, hidden in plain sight, Cash. Absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. GPS tracking. High-risk offenders may be subject to GPS monitoring, allowing authorities to track their movement in real time, only when they're on probation or parole. Electronic databases. States maintain electronic databases that are regularly updated and cross-referenced with other state and federal databases to track compliance. Yeah. What's up, Mater? Exactly. Exactly, Oladio. Mom or dad, grandma or grandpa, teacher, bishop's wife. You know, shit like that. Community reporting. Public notification. Information about registered sex offenders is made available to the public, encouraging community members to report any non-compliance. Bullshit. Bullshit. 100% bullshit. Call in a sex offender that's non-compliant and watch what happens. You will get laughed off the phone. I thought it already went off. Yep, nature sounds. 87%, if I remember correctly, 87% of all these crimes, sex crimes towards children, are happened by somebody that person or their family trusted and they know personally. 100% nature sounds. All right. Hotlines and tip lines. Many jurisdictions have hotlines or online portals where the public can report suspected violations. But guess what? When you do report them, they laugh at you. Enforcing compliance. They don't. Law enforcement actions, arrests, and prosecutions. Noncompliance with registration requirements is a criminal offense. Law enforcement agencies can arrest and prosecute offenders who fail to register or update their information. But yeah, they could, but they don't. Exactly, Darlene. Exactly, Darlene. Predator can be your own parent. Indeed. And Nature Sounds subbed up too. So there you go. Darlene, indeed. Just trying to say it can also be anyone. Most are not in society, but eyes need to be open. Absolutely, Cash. Absolutely. I know, I'm trying. Thank you. Task Force. Specialized task forces, such as the U.S. Marshal Service's Sex Offender Investigations Branch, focus on locating and apprehending non-compliant offenders. Really? Might have to give it a go. Interagency collaboration, federal and state cooperation. Federal agencies such as the FBI and U.S. Marshals work with state and local law enforcement to enforce compliance and track down offenders who cross state lines. Bullshit. Too many people spent teaching about stranger danger. Yeah. People need people need outside of familia abuse. Some normal seeming folks are predators. Yeah, quite a lot of them. Need to see that outside of familial abuse. Okay, thanks for the correction, Cash. Smart office. Okay, looking at this a little bit. Since we know this system is not working, instead of complaining, why not find ways to repair the system? Well, that's what I'm working on, Opa. And unfortunately, there's not a lot of cooperation with people, so being on a mission of such high caliber importance, it's almost impossible to achieve by yourself. Just saying. And I'm not complaining, I'm just,
Want me to grab you a piece?
yeah, that'd be great. So, exactly, Cash. Smart Office. The Office of Sex Offender Sentencing, Monitoring, Apprehending, Registering, and Tracking. SMART. Provides resources and support to jurisdictions to enhance their monitoring and enforcement efforts. Legal penalties. Federal penalties under SORNA failing to register or update registration is a federal crime punishable by fines and up to 10 years in prison. State penalties. States also impose their own penalties for noncompliance, which can include additional prison time, fines, and extended registration periods. Those can help. I mean, one person, one person, one person writing a letter to governors and trying to get petitions going, it don't work. The offices need to be flooded with letters. I've wrote many to senators, congressmen, all like quite a few of them, judges, prosecuting attorneys. I wrote letters of all kinds of shit to them. So, and God forbid people unite on one. Like God forbid people unite together on one level field and actually, have the same mission in mind to proceed forward and actually accomplish it. That's what I'm saying, Cash. He sat on the same pew at church as the perpetrator. Yep. Educate from 0 years up and go from there. Eventually, society evolves, perhaps. Well, I don't got much else for that. But challenging in monitoring and enforcement. Resource constraints. Monitoring and enforcing compliance requires significant resources, which constrain local law enforcement agencies. Jurisdictional variations, differences in how states implement SORNA can lead to inconsistencies in enforcement and monitoring practices.
Do you think it's okay I should watch these? Like all the time?
Yeah.
Are you watching that too, Rose? Yeah?
Yeah.
You all right?
Yes, writing letters to governors, state senators, state representatives, president, state, and House representatives. Right, but if they get one or two letters a year from somebody, that's not going to do any damn good. We got to flood their offices with letters.
You gotta annoy him with shit. Annoy him with it.
When Senator Jack Johnson and Judge Danae Johnson dismissed some cases, one case was a young boy by sexually abused. We don't use that word here. We don't use SA'd here, Darlene. I mean, you can. I'm just saying we don't. Or I don't. Anyway. By his Sunday school teacher. I know what that's like. I've got a friend calling out a pastor as a pedo on YouTube. Hell yeah. They threw it out. Happens all the time. Darlene, oh, look at the Gesso Petticoat case. Yep. Right at G2K? Yep. Absolutely. This is why I say this, how there's this misunderstanding or this miscommunication and this shit that we just talked about here. There's a real simple way to fix that, and that's by making all sex crimes against children a federal crime. Put it all on one field. Put it all on one field. Don't give states the choice to impose sentences that they feel as relevant to the case. Let the fucking federal government figure it out. A 15-year-old kept being abused at school in P. So Judge Danae Johnson. These two go to church with the perp, Aaron Solomon. What do we not say? Well, like we don't, we call it sexual abuse and sexual offender, and I just don't, we don't play that around here. We call it what it is what I'm saying. I mean, you don't have to. I mean, I do. You don't have to shy away from saying it. You know what I'm saying? I agree. Make it a federal crime. Yep, absolutely. And if you made it all a federal crime, it would also eliminate this next problem, which is jurisdictional variations. Differences in how states implement SORNA can lead to inconsistencies in enforcement and monitoring practices. Yeah. Yeah. Yes, kids. Technological limitations. While electronic monitoring tools are effective, they are not foolproof and can be circumvented by determined offenders. And remember, that's only while they're on probation or parole. Yep, that's right, Darlene. Say the right word. He was raped. Absolutely. Overall, while there are robust systems in place to monitor and enforce compliance, challenges remain that require ongoing attention and resources. So, not all states have a dedicated SMART office. The Office of Sex Offender Sentencing, Monitoring, Apprehending, Registering, and Tracking SMART is a federal office that provides guidance and support to states, territories, and tribes to help them implement the Sex Offender Registration and Notification Act, SORNA. As of now, 18 states, 4 territories, and 137 tribes have subsequently implemented SORNA. The SMART Office works with these jurisdictions to ensure they meet the federal requirements, but not every state has a separate SMART office. Instead, states typically have their own sex offender registry office or department that work in conjunction with the SMART office to comply with the SORNA guidelines. We don't got one. We don't got one. It does no good to castrate. They still would use their other items. And it just makes them more violent. Yep, if you haven't, Darlene, you should watch that. You should watch that documentary for sure. Just put a tracking chip in them and assign a department to track them after they are on the register. But it's when they get off of probation and parole that becomes a problem. I'm gonna keep them for sure. We should be able to know where the fuck they're at 24/7.
You have to put a sign on their fucking in their front yard and have it tattooed on the forehead.
Mm-hmm.
For real. Okay, care how much of a hassle people give because of it. I don't care.
Yeah.
Get more.
Yep, I agree. These are the states that have implemented the SORNA. I agree, Opa, 100%. But they don't. Alabama, Colorado, Delaware, Florida, Kansas, Louisiana, Maryland, Michigan, Mississippi, Missouri, Nevada, Ohio, Oklahoma, South Carolina, South Dakota, Tennessee, Virginia, and Wyoming. So you might ask yourself, well, what do states do that don't have SORNA? States that have not subsequently implemented SORNA will maintain their own sex offender registries and follow state-specific laws and registration regulations. Here's some key points about how these states manage sex offender registration. State-specific laws. Each state has its own set of laws and procedures for registering sex offenders. These laws can vary significantly in terms of registration requirements, duration, and public notification practices. Register for life, absolutely. The issue sometimes is people distance from this topic as it is very emotive and hard. That prevents true debate to change. Absolutely, Cash. I am not sure the problem is people higher up who not have not been arrested. I found out more on my story. Get to know? All right, old lady, you were about an hour from me. All right, on. Risk-based systems. Some states use risk-based assessment systems to categorize offenders based on their likelihood of reoffending. This approach allows for more tailored monitoring and management of offenders. Put a 1 in the chat if you think that sex offenders can be rehabilitated. Watch the ones not fly in. Federal funding penalties. States that do not comply with SORNA face a reduction of federal Brine Justice Assistant Grants, or JAG, which are used to support local law enforcement and criminal justice programs. Some states choose to forego these funds due to the costs and complexities associated with implementing SORNA. Yep. Yep. Alternative compliance efforts. Many non compliant states still work towards improving their sex offender management systems. They may apply for reallocation of the funding penalty to support activities and further SORNA implementation. Public safety measures. Despite not fully implementing SORNA, these states continue to prioritize public safety through various measures, including community notifications, electronic monitoring, and regular check-ins with offenders. Can I say a tidbit get to know? I am afraid to say much more. You can say whatever you want, Darlene. Like, are you asking for the link? Challenges and considerations. Resource constraints. Implementing SORNA can be resource intensive, requiring significant financial and administrative investment. Legal and ethical concerns. Some states have raised concerns about the broad application of SORNA, particularly regarding the inclusion of juveniles and low risk offenders. The key difference is, between SORNA compliant and non compliant states. Registration requirements. SORNA compliant states adhere to uniform registration standards, including TIRAD classification of offenders based on the severity of their crimes.
You silly dog. You silly dog. You just silly dog. Sorry.
Okay, Cash said I can carry on talking now, so I'll continue on talking now.
Just because Cash said so.
Just because Cash said I could. Juvenile registration. These states registered juveniles who were at least 14 years old at the time of the offense and were adjudicated delinquent for serious sexual offenses. Yeah, we're not in the younger generation. Community notifications. These states have robust community notification systems to inform the public about sex offenders living in their areas. What about all the ones that don't get a red dot? Um, While SORNA compliant states benefit from uniform standards, comprehensive public notification, and full federal funding, non compliant states maintain more varied and state specific systems. These differences can impact the effectiveness of sex offender monitoring and public safety measures. You can check out the Office of Sex Offender Sentencing Monitoring, Apprehending, Registering, and Tracking, or SMART, National Conference of State Legislatures. Um, so, what are some ways? What are some ways that we, as citizens of this country, can raise public awareness about this problem? Public awareness campaigns. No 2 Project campaign, KNOW number 2 Project campaign, launched by the Department of Homeland Security. This campaign educates and empowers children, parents, and community leaders to prevent and combat online child sexual exploitation and abuse. It involves partnerships with tech companies, sports leagues, and youth organizations to spread awareness and provide resources. Now, I'm going to read this next one, but I don't agree with it. This should not happen, period. Education programs, school based education. Implementing prevention education in schools can increase children's knowledge of sexual abuse and self protective skills. Programs like teach children how to recognize inappropriate behavior and how to seek help. What's up, Darlene?
Hey, how are you?
Oh, I'm okay, I guess. I didn't have a very good day. It started out kind of rough, and it didn't really get any better as it went along.
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
Yeah, been working really hard on a lot of things. I've been kind of pulled away because of some new discoveries I've recently found out, and it's very upsetting when you find the connection between you and what your parents done to you, and then find out there's connections with Epstein and stuff like this. But I can't go too much more into detail other than that.
Aw.
It's crazy,
Yes, it is.
but it's not really all. But it's not really all that surprising. You know that?
No, it's not with the brunt of a lot of stuff in my life that a lot of y'all already know. Um, and I am working on my third book. I am redoing that Shattered Innocence revised and stuff like that. I got a little bit more detail, and I don't want to be too gory about this, but I do have it in my book that, and people do need to know about some of the stuff that these people do that's sickos, okay? I mean, I do have it described in the book the first time. I remember my parent um, selling me, put me on a kitchen table and a guy putting a beer bottle at me and, all that kind of stuff, okay? Just being 2 years old. Some of this stuff is really sickening.
Yeah, they are.
So this time I got brave enough and I said, well, I'm going to say, this is, and then what really gets me is I thought that was when the brunt of the sexual abuse started. But remember how I told you my son came to me and said, Mom, your sister said your daddy never did nothing sexual to you. All he did was ejaculate all over your face when you were an infant. I said, do what?
Yep.
He used to do that all over my face when I was an infant? What? Seriously?
Yeah.
It's like get real. I scared my son. He ran to the door because he's like, Mom, I didn't want you to get mad. I said, but son, I said, don't you know common sense tells you if a parent does something like that or an individual does something like that to a child, it's going to fester. The sex abuse is going to continue to grow.
Yep. And it does.
And I felt so angry because I felt like she violated my son. Graphic said that to my son, but I'm glad I know about it now. You know what I'm saying? But I hate that she involved and was that sick sadistic with my son.
Stop.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And for a lot of years, I wondered why it was so painful in a certain region of my private. Y'all know also that my daddy even cut me when I was 4 years old. Part of me is gone. Okay, that's part of the, you know. But for to find out that um, I do have it in a book too in the clit area. Okay, I kept wondering why it was so painful all them years, right? And I had after I divorced, and I finally got it in the book, the revised edition, that I kept messing around in that area because it was so painful. It's like shock waves being sent to me. It wasn't pleasure shock that kind, okay? I mean, it was sharp, where electrical currents like I'm being stabbed, you know. And I kept messing around, and I finally got out a shard of glass. That shard of glass was embedded in my clit area since I was 2 years old, up until I was 30 something years old. Thank you.
That's fucking horrible.
I mean, and then to go and tell a boyfriend later on, my daddy cut part of me off, part of my vagina on one side is, all doctor said on one side is just scar tissue, a scar tag, And I said, and then so he went and told his co-workers about me being cut like that. And so they come to me and said, you know what, you were born a guy. Like I wasn't born a guy. I'm 100% woman,
Right.
So no matter what, people are still gonna be like that, be cruel to you when they find out that you were damaged in this way. There's some things that you are never gonna be able to. When they cut you like that, there's just some things that's done wrong with your chemistry, okay, in your body that should not be natural, okay.
Yep. Yep. 100%.
But people need to know, I it's kind of hard for me to get up here and be this graphic with y'all, but y'all got to understand how severe that it really gets. These sick sadistic. And whenever I told my sister Sabina, she was about like 6, 7 years older than me. She said, "Well, I did see your daddy coming from Germany with a book on how to have sex with kids." So she said she probably that's where daddy probably got that idea of cutting me there at my private area, because he had that book how to have sex with kids. So I'm sorry, maybe I don't need to get on here and talk about all this right
No,
now
you're
with you.
you're, you're
You
good.
know,
No, it needs to be. If you feel like it needs to be heard, it needs to be heard, Darlene.
but when you got all these people and y'all, I am scared to death. Y'all just be praying for me since I'm finding out some of this other stuff. I found out these things about being in barns and stuff like this with all these other kids and these kids being hurt, murdered, and stuff like this. At times when I had to rescue kids out of cages. Okay, I don't have that a lot in my stories and my books. I'm terrified. Okay, but yes, I was actually, that's part of my story. Okay, y'all.
Yeah.
And people don't know the brunt of all that. They don't know how bad it really was. They think like, oh, Darlene's just on here trying to get attention. No, I'm not trying to get attention. I'm trying to bring awareness. This happens too often to our children.
It's happening right now.
Exactly. Exactly.
And the reality of it is, this is a touchy subject. It is a hard subject, but it's something that needs to be talked about. Because if it don't, we're fucked.
Exactly. Yeah, it is. It's horrible. And somebody had rescued me from underneath the house after I saved the kids out from another house. I was a teenager, And years later, they had it on the Montel Williams show. There was a lady in my area. I didn't know for sure at the time that she was in the area until I kept listening to the story, on the Montel Williams show.
Hmm.
And it was our district attorney. So he was saying how he arrested. They even covered her face because how horrible and how dangerous that she was in, right? And she actually said there was three different houses where they had satanic meetings at. Yes, I'm sorry, don't want to say too much about the satanic, but yes, where they had the satanic cult meetings, and um, and she said that one of the houses where it was at, which was at my evil stepmom's house, and yes, I was forced there, and yes, they were going to sacrifice me at one time. And they're going to sacrifice all the kids in cages too. Okay, but I stabbed the guy in the thigh and got out of the tent, and and then I seen all the kids in the cages, and I ran, and something just told me to go to the front of the house around the other way that somebody be waiting. And one girl, baby, go with me. I said, I can't go with you. I live here. But I think that's possibly the girl that ended up telling on her parents later on. And she was on a Montel Williams show, and it did not give her a real name or nothing. And she said, yeah, there's even her parents had even kidnapped women that were pregnant and cut the babies for their stomach and all kind of stuff. Okay.
Yep.
Um, but I went on back to because I was doing college courses on a computer, and then I run back, and then they said, and you knowing about how my stepmom held me down when I was a teenager, and how my stepbrother raped me as a kid, as a teenager, and then
Yep.
later on they killed the baby. Okay, they got away with all that. They got away with all that, and then when she said, well, there was something about a baby that was murdered and all, and then they said, where did this happen to? And I was standing in front of the couch was living with my boyfriend, and when they said Athens, Alabama, that's where I lived. Athens, Alabama. And it was like, whoa, and my legs went out from underneath me. I fell. I fell. I couldn't contain myself. And it was really scary. And then she said, matter of fact, the house where some of the cult meetings happened that I'm describing, it's going to be torn down. Well, the next time my son came to visit me after this story, and he didn't even know that it was on the Montel Williams show, he said, Mom, did you know that your house where you used to live is being torn down? I'm like, really? Really?
That's
But
right,
so
Mom.
many times I want so bad to go there, and I can remember my stepmom coming up to me some of the times. She had two diamond rings on her hand, and she said, I got these rings for what I did to you. And I was like, what did you do to me? I had a blackout, um, block memories, okay? I didn't know this other stuff about the child because I forgot it. It's a block memory. It was horrific. But when I remembered it, man, I just wanted to die, man. I
I
did
bet.
everything. I wanted to kill myself. I felt like, why couldn't I get up off the floor? Why couldn't I get up and save this kid? Why couldn't I do this? I'm such a bad mom. I couldn't get up and protect her when I saw the knife coming down at my son. I couldn't get up and do nothing about that. Why couldn't I? Why couldn't I, God? I'm so horrible. I blame myself for forgetting. I blame myself for it, y'all.
Well, blame
Yeah,
yourself
he
for your
was.
mom.
Yes,
It's
he
not your
was.
fault.
Yes. Yeah, Montel Williams. He was. Yes. So, y'all, there's a lot to my story I cannot tell, but I just want y'all to know the story is bigger than anybody could ever imagine. It really gets to me because they got away with it. And when I remembered it in therapy one time, that's when I was in the middle of therapy, and I remembered it. I said, I don't feel so good. And he told me I could lay down on the couch, and I laid down. Then I had that memory, and he said, well, did you have any proof that this happened? I said, no, I don't. I said, oh, but really I do in a way. I said, when I was pregnant with my first son with my marriage, then they said I had a baby before, and what did I do with it? They even called the police in to get a report saying I had a baby before. He said, well, there's your proof that, you did have the son before. And it did happen. Thank y'all. But sometimes it still hurts about that son.
And it will. It will.
And then I still got people that's after me for getting this out about them.
Well, people like us, you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, my stepmother, she told me I better not tell anything about him. And so what did I do? I went ahead in my second book and put it out there about her killing my son.
Yeah,
I
well tell
put
your
it out there.
stepmother
I
I'll
got
tell
it
you.
out there. I said, I'm not going to let her hold this, and threaten me. So before she died, she knew I published a book that had what she did in it. No.
Yeah, guess what now, stepmother? Everything's gonna be fucking put out there about you, bitch. Sorry.
Yeah, now she's dead, so she's got her own repercussions. She got to face, and now her own kids. It's still a threat to me. I worry about that. I still have to watch my back.
Quiet about it is just as bad as they are.
Yeah, like my wife just said. She said, you know what? Anybody that tells their kid to keep their mouth shut and don't talk about it, they're the biggest piece of shit. This person is abusing a child.
Yeah. They're
Yes.
fuck
Yeah.
that shit as a child molester.
So
And to know, and to put it off even more because that was even her grandchild. Because it was her son that raped me, right? So I actually had his baby. So she actually murdered her own grandchild.
that's fucking crazy.
And she had a fire burning outside for 3 days, and that's prior to this. This was the third day, and so that's where she went through the blanket and everything, and she had tires in and around it. So my psychiatrist said, when she knew how to dispose of a body, he said because the fire would be hot enough to burn. The body up because it burned in 3 days, and then the tires will mask any human remains. So he said it'd be your word against hers. And if I turn it in, they can say that you did this and you could go to jail for something they did. So they got away with it, man. Got away with it. And he was alive, man. We bonded. I held him in my hand. And he was in my arms, and we cuddled, and he wrapped his little fist around my finger.
Yeah, but you gotta remember though, Darlene. Like they got away with it here on this planet. There ain't nobody escapes what's coming to them.
Right. So y'all see, this goes even deeper than a lot of people want to realize. They want to say, "Oh, it don't affect me. You don't do that." But everybody that just sweeps it under the rug, they're just as guilty. As long as and when they turn their backs and they don't try to help, they're letting the problem rise.
Yeah, you're just as guilty.
Exactly. All these people, these judges and everything that's letting these perpetrators out of jail just with a slap on the wrist and stuff like that, they're just as guilty when he reoffends.
Yep, absolutely,
I'm
absolutely.
sorry, I'm shaky right now. I'm sorry, everybody,
You're good. You don't
but
need
it
to
just kind of
apologize.
gets
You
it
don't need to
gets to me
apologize at all.
sometimes when I talk about my son and that being done. It's like it really unnerves me.
Yeah, I get it. I get it.
So in my book, I named him John Paul after a deceased brother of mine. Thank you so much.
Yep.
But people need to understand that, yeah, some people say, well, you were a kid when this was done. Yeah, but the
Yeah.
physical damage that they done, like how did that piece of glass that they cut me down there, you know what I mean? You cannot grow that part back. You cannot grow these parts back when they injured. They told me, that they had never seen a woman as messed up internally as me, as all the sexual abuse that happened to me. They sold me for child pornography. They sold me, especially when I ran into that state trooper, met him at Huntsville, Alabama library. There's an Alabama state trooper. Before I even got to sit down, I did put my purse down on a table, and he said, "I remember you." I said, "From what?" He said, "From all the child porno." He said, "My daddy did over 300 of them, and you were in a majority of them." And I said, "Do what?" Thank you, old lady. So, and I said, "Well, since after I got my bearings straight a little bit and calmed down a little bit, since I had to sit at the table because my legs wouldn't work because I had fell down into the chair." I said, "Well, since your daddy's dead," and his was an Alabama state trooper, his daddy owned an auction house, and in the back of the auction house is where they auction off kids, okay, where they auction off me as being one of them. They had a burger joint and they had an ice cream joint, y'all. Their other two places are ideal for kids coming up there, the ice cream places and the burger joints, right, y'all?
Yeah.
So that's the perfect places for. But I said, since your daddy's dead, I hope that you did away with the child pornos. And he said, no, he said, my daddy had a buddy. He enjoyed watching the child porno, so I gave it to him. I said, what? So you mean that my videos are out there surfing around everywhere? He said, well, I don't know what he done with them, but yeah, I gave him around, and if he gave them around, this was, he told me in 19, this was around 1990, I guess, and I asked him how old I was in the videos. He said you were ages 4 to 11, and that made perfect sense because when I was 11, my mom in Florida got custody of me again. But see, she's not any better because she was the first person that put me on a kitchen table when I was 2 years old. So then I said, "How old were you?" He said, "Well, I was just 9 year old. I went recently and looked up his obituary. I see that he was 17, 18 year old when I was 4 year old. So no way. He was 17 or 18 when I was 4." And y'all, when you go through that kind of stuff, you have a lot of problems. You could have dissociative identity disorder, which I did. I'm sorry, that was my coping mechanism. They had me under different names. And I will tell y'all a sick line that they had me to say, okay? I don't want mean this as to turn anybody on or nothing. This was a sick line that they had me to say, okay? And, y'all got to know what these kids are put through, okay? So I will tell you a line I had to say as a little girl. My name is Candy. I taste just dandy. I'm every man's fantasy. I had to say that on the videos, y'all. My name is Candy. I taste just dandy. I'm every man's fantasy.
Fucked up, dude.
You've never heard this before from me, y'all. I'm coming out and telling y'all right now. You're welcome. But I think y'all need to know. Do y'all agree that y'all should know what these kids are being made to say and do?
Everybody should. We will not be silenced. We won't be silenced about the shit. I will never stop talking about. I will never stop talking about it.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, old lady. Well, y'all quite welcome, and y'all just bear with me. God told me now's not the time to tell y'all more about what I found out recently. But I could talk to you in private, Aaron, and tell you, but I cannot get it out there right now
We're good. Yeah.
about about. But one of these guys recently, I found out that when I had left an ex boyfriend, and because he was going to have his place repossessed years ago,
Thanks, Rose.
and then to find out that the guy that was going to take me from my boyfriend's house to my sister's house in South Georgia, he said, let's spend about a weekend at my place in Atlanta. So I said, fine, okay, So we was there, and I called my sister from his house, and then I noticed he went outside, and luckily I went ahead and hung up the phone from my sister and went outside. He was about to cut the phone lines, people. He was about to cut the phone lines. And then
What's up, veteran Bob?
huh?
I just saying hi to another person in chat.
Yeah. So he was about to cut the phone lines. And then I come to find out that he was a part of these people from the past. I found out that recently, y'all. And he had a room in his house that you had to go into his bedroom, and then you had to move the closet. And then you would have had to move some of the woods in the closet, and I had a hidden bedroom, y'all. He had a hidden bedroom in there, and he tried. He said, "Why don't you come and stay? And you stay in that bedroom." He tried everything that try to keep me like a hostage type of situation there. He tried to get me to go down in the basement, and I said, "I'm not going to go down in the basement." I knew what that led, that I would be trapped down there, right? So one time when he was gone, I called my ex-boyfriend back, and I said, and so whenever he came back, I said, take me back to meet my boyfriend, and so that I had a way out. And I did overhear him asking people on the internet, what do they want him to do with me? So I'm glad I had the common sense to try to contact somebody and have a way out so that they can't say, hey, nobody's expecting you, so we'll go ahead and do away with you since you know, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So to find out recently that, yeah, and then
No.
times whenever I would go to the grocery store in that town when I was still married, these guys were still grabbing my arm saying, you're coming with me. So they still tried to end up kidnapping me, even as an adult, to
Yeah.
shut me up.
My wife and I, we're sitting here listening to you, and we've heard you speak about most of this before, and I'm not trying to take away anything about that, so it's not like that.
Right.
But I just looked at my wife and I was like, just hearing your story again, just parts of it, like makes my story sound minimal. You know what I mean? Like you have. My wife said the same thing. It makes her almost feel guilty. You know what I mean? Like, like you have the most gripping, horrific, heart wrenching, stomach churning story I've ever fucking heard.
Yeah.
Literally, literally.
My heart goes out to you, darling.
And I can honestly, oh, thank you. I can honestly say the only reason I survived, I believe the good Lord above is the only reason I survived. I'm serious.
You survived so you could do what you're doing right now. I
Don't get
oh,
me wrong.
I know, Cash. I know, Cash. I know, Cash. I'm not saying that, but it makes me feel like shit. I was
No, it
only,
feels like what I went through was
like nothing really.
cake
I
compared
mean,
to
yeah,
that. I'm
like
not meaning it like in
none of
aspect, but
that. Her situation was
holy
worse.
shit.
Yes, we do. We
You're
all
right.
suffer.
You're right, Cash. But you're right, Cash. You're right.
Yeah, everybody's story is horrific, no matter
Yeah,
what they were
absolutely,
done.
absolutely.
Abuse is abuse and
I
it
would love
never should be
Yeah, no, yeah,
sideswiped. And
no,
I don't know if people take it wrong.
yeah. I know you know, Cash. I know, I know anybody that's watching this now that knows my wife and I. They know that about us.
Mater, that's where I lived most of the life. That's when where a lot of that happened to me in Alabama, Mater. Thank you so much, Mater.
Yeah. Fucking disgusting, man.
There and in
You know,
Florida,
you know, and
close to Orlando. You know, that's a big hub too,
yep.
where my mom literally would dress me up, and I thought, oh, well, good, it's mommy daughter day, right? So cool, you know. So I get to go spend some special time with mommy, you know. And instead, I wasn't allowed to eat or drink nothing when we went to a restaurant. And these guys said, "Oh, she's so cute. You want to buy her?" And some of the guys, yes, ended up buying me. So yes, she sold me right there at a restaurant for the guys to just bring her back alive. You can do anything you want to with her, but bring her back
You want
alive.
to cash.
Oh, so yes, thank you so much, Raiders, for saying that. It makes me wonder why they moved to Orlando. And I thought before it was because my dad was still in the military, and I found out that was a lie because
You know,
he got out of the military the same year I was born. So
as we're sitting here hearing your story and whatnot, and we're having this discussion, like there are children out there in the world that this is happening to them right now. The
right,
same shit that
exactly.
happened, the same shit that happened to Darlene, is happening to some other girl right now. The shit that
And that
happened to my wife and I is happening to some other innocent child right now as we speak.
and that story where they had it on there. What was that guy's name that did that trafficking story? That he was a rescuer or something like that. I can't remember what his name was.
Oh, Jared,
Um,
fucking whatever his name is. Yeah,
I can't remember what that. Maybe
From Adventures with Purpose. Yeah.
no, not Adventures with Purpose. That other
Dude, you met through her.
I can't think of what that guy's name was.
Weird, you know, with the.
And they had these people, and they were rescuing the kids and stuff. And then it showed the pictures of taking of all these kids and stuff. And I thought, oh crap. When I
Absolutely,
started
Cash.
thinking of these pictures, and I was like, oh crap. Then it showed the little girl in the bathtub. That's when I became unglued. Because remember what I told you after they did that incident on the kitchen table. The next thing I remember is being in a bathtub of water. Remember I told you that?
Yep.
And so when I saw that episode, you know, when the little girl just sitting in the water, just sitting there, I started crying and bawling my eyes out at the movie.
Yep. Cash. Absolutely point on, bud. Cash says, and more common than people know, to be honest. People are not comfortable talking about child abuse and child sexual abuse. That
But
needs to change.
so they make a little kid say something like, I'm every man's fantasy, you know what I mean? So that makes the kid start thinking, it's partly my fault. I'm being this certain way towards it.
Yeah,
But they force you to do that and say that, okay?
yeah.
They force it. It's not a child's fault when they're forced. I mean, a kid should be a
Yeah,
kid. They don't think
yeah,
about
yeah.
usually
It's
about
never a child's fault. It's never a child's fault. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. You know what I mean?
But he says that
exactly.
Yeah. And if anybody and if anybody says that shit around me, dude, they'll get their fucking teeth knocked out.
And you know what was more sick than that state trooper had said after he had said this? I still get excited thinking about doing you when you were so little. I'm like, what?
Yep. Yep.
I wanted to vomit right then and there.
I still want to puke. My wife just did puke.
Oh, really? I'm
I mean,
sorry.
you know what I mean? Don't be
Yeah.
sorry. That's the way it is. That's the way it is. It's fucking disgusting.
Discussing that adults are doing this.
They want you, oh, you know, you
Yeah.
enjoyed it. You know, you did that. You did this. You did this. You know,
Trust me. Trust me.
you would have killed.
When I was being penetrated anally when I was 6, 7 years old, like I wasn't enjoying this shit.
No, I couldn't have been enjoying it either. That's probably ripping my insides out.
I mean, for real. I mean, for real.
By the grace of God, like the gynecologist told me, he said, your kids are a miracle. You shouldn't have been able to have kids. He said, anybody that's got even just a slight amount of damage that you got, they wasn't able to have kids. Your kids are a miracle. I said, well, I did get on my hands and knees and pray to God.
Well, it just shows right there that God works in mysterious ways.
Exactly.
You know, all I know, all I know is this world is just getting more and more fucked up, more and more evil, more and more dark, and I can't handle it.
And what's later on, when I really did not remember what my stepmom, had done still, you know what I mean? And she was homeless. I opened my door and let that perpetrator wench that killed my kid in my home. Even I did not remember her doing all this stuff to me. I knew she was abusive, but I didn't remember this other stuff, And then she had brought her daughter and the three kids, so was taking care of them. And then I ended up kicking her out of the house, telling me the things I was going to do, and she threatened that she was going to do the same to my oldest kid that she done to my first kid. And I said, "What are you talking about? I had a kid before. What are you talking about, my first kid?" I didn't know what she was talking about. But then school got out. I done kicked them out, right? But then school got out, and I went halfway in between the barn lot, uh, right out there. My son was dropped off at my ex mother in law's house because the bus never went down our road because it's dirt road, so they didn't have nowhere to turn around.
Right.
So I went there to make sure my son was going to be okay when he got off the school bus. And right behind the school bus, up pulled a white van. One of the guys got out of the white van and the passenger side went and opened up the sliding, the side door. And I started running toward my kid. Run, run, run. Got her to run to me and everything. The very next day, that van pulled behind the school bus again, and guess what? The school bus did not move. The school bus said she noticed what was going on and had somebody else to follow behind her. And so that never happened ever again, about them trying to kidnap my oldest son through my marriage. So they still try to do.
Yep.
Yeah, that proves I'm not male. I had two kids, two more kids. That's right. And I breastfed too. So yes, so a guy cannot.
Despite what some people might think, dudes ain't breastfeeding babies. It don't work that way.
Exactly. Yeah, my ex-boyfriend had told us, about me being cut right there. Yeah, they said that I was really a man, not a woman. But I burned three babies.
Yep, for sure.
And I'm lucky that my dad died when I was 14 years old, y'all. I don't know if any of y'all got a copy of my book, but I do have it in there. But my dad talked about a week before he died, because he had sat me down and he told me that he's going to come back from the job and he's going to take me away and he's going to marry me. I said, Dad, you can't marry me. The church is not going to allow you to marry me. I'm your daughter. He said, well, once they know the truth, then they'll allow it. And I thought, well, what's the truth? He said, when he comes back from that job, here I was, just 14-year-old. I still didn't have a menstrual cycle. And he said, I'm going to marry you, And he ended up dying on that job. So thank God I didn't have to put up with that, y'all.
Yep. Yes,
They're a bunch of sickos right there, you know.
yeah, beyond sickos. Beyond sickos.
Yeah, God took care of him. He didn't let it happen where he could continue. So yeah, yeah, I call it karma too because see, y'all know, well, some of y'all might know how he used to knock me in the head and knock me out, and or have the rest of the kids kick me all over, would call me stupid, fat, ugly, and retarded, and all that kind of stuff. Well, once he fell, and he used to throw and tie me up sometimes in a barrel at the creek. Okay, and I don't know how I survived that, but I did. Um, by the grace of God. But oh man, so he was dangling from a rope at his job, and then the scaffolding cut the rope, and he fell. He had knocked a big gash on his head when it went over, and the scaffolding,
Yeah.
So like, okay, that was karma, him getting knocked in the head and him dangling by a rope, where he was using ropes, dangle me down in the well before too, kind of like that multiple personality show Trudy Chase or that other one, Eve. I can't remember which one that they had in the well. And I said, oh my gosh, your dad did that to me too. When I saw that, I like crap. And I like, okay. And then he fell 180 feet and it broke every bone in his body. So they told me the majority of my bones have been broken or fractured because of the abuse. And they had to fish him out of acid, because his body fell between the 12-inch railings. He was at Union Hill paper mill. That's where he was at. And so they had to fish his body out of the acid. And I thought, well, that's kind of funny because I had battery acid poured on me, between my legs. It's like, wow, all this just
Yeah.
karma. And I asked somebody, I said, why do you think they did that with a battery acid? They said they probably tried to do some the damage, tried to mimic it and being injured some other way than what it was injured.
Yeah.
And I remember it burning and it stinging. Then I remember eating a hole in my pants. And then I don't remember nothing else. I don't know what happened next. I don't know how I got in the house. I don't know how I got cleaned up. I don't know what happened next. I really don't know how I got out of that situation. I just know it was so traumatic that I can't, I blocked it out.
Yep. I mean, that's a good thing.
It was at Union Hill Camp in Prattville, Alabama, later, and it was, let's see, December the 2nd, 1976 is when it happened. Union Camp Paper Mill in Prattville, Alabama. Yeah. Are you familiar with there, later? Of course, Darlene Clark is my name, protection name, so this ain't my real name because everything that I divulge, it's kind of dangerous for me.
Here we go.
Is there any other questions anybody would like to ask before I go? Because I don't mind answering.
This is my sidekick.
No, Union Hill. I called out God to take my life because I wanted to die instead of reached out. Oh, I'm so glad that you're still around, old lady. Oh, yeah, I got bad allergies, so my nose state is kind of messed up, So some of my words are not going to come out just right. I don't know nothing about Cedars Crane paper mill, but Union Hill. Well, I like cats more than dogs, but I'm allergic to cats, so
What's up,
but I like
Pinky?
cats more than dogs. Thank God, oh lady, oh, amen to that.
Here you go, Pinky.
Is there any questions you'd like to ask me, Aaron, or anybody before I go ahead and
Um, not right here, right now, darling.
okay,
So,
okay.
but
Y'all
you,
have a blessed day, and remember
just
to
stay strong.
advocate for the kids because you really cannot imagine the horror, that a kid is going through.
Oh, God.
I myself used to think that every kid was done the way that I was done. I thought that was natural. I really did. I didn't know that, you know,
Yeah,
I did not know that the love and respect that people had for one another, I never imagined.
yeah,
Thank you so much, Cash. But I'm so glad to know that it's a lot different than what I was raised. And I knew that when I was living in Florida with my mom, I was standing beside the railroad tracks and I was daydreaming. And I was like, when I become a parent, I am going to listen to my kids. I'm going to sit down. I'm going to let them have a voice instead of the children should be seen and not heard type of thing that was going on. I want to listen to them. I want to hold them. I want to comfort them and kiss them when they have boo boos and stuff. So I said, so I daydreamed, and somebody said that's probably why you became a good parent and stuff because of you thinking of that as a kid, and so you didn't pass on the trait
Yes.
of what was done to you, and that's nonsense. When
you were
people
great.
actually go,
You were a cycle breaker.
yes, we were cycle breakers. People say that if you abuse, you're going to abuse. That's bull crap. And everybody that uses that as an excuse, oh, I was abused, so I abused. That's bull crap.
That is
Bullshit.
bullshit.
Only fucking something like 23% of anybody who's been
Yep.
sexually
Thank you,
abused
Cash.
goes on
Thank you,
to
Ollie.
sexually abuse a child.
It's not like you're born with
Exactly.
that makes you that way.
So
No.
it's utter bull crap when they go like to say, I did it because I was abused. No, no, no. You got the common decency. If you knew you did not like it as a kid, then why are you going and harming a child, y'all? Why?
Yep.
It makes no sense. Stop the cycle. Stop the vision. Stop the hate. Stop hurting our kids. Kids are a gift from God. They're not something to be destroyed and used. Like one of my ex-daughter-in-laws, she goes, "My kids are mine. I can do anything I want to." And like, excuse me, they're not exactly just yours. You can't do exactly what you want with them. You better treat them with love and respect.
They're still human beings. You don't own that. You know what I mean? Like, they're human beings.
Exactly. You put them in the world, but then one day they're going to be moved away from you. They're going to become adults.
Yeah. And if you don't allow
Exactly.
them that freedom, they're going to grow up to be rebel against you and, be angry with you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The funny thing is, I did test my stepmom before to see if really if I was doing wrong. So I said, well, I'm going to go in there and I'm going to get a bottle of beer and go in the living room and drink up with them and this 15-year-old. And so, oh boy, I was life of the party. I didn't get in trouble. I didn't get beat. I didn't get kicked. I didn't get smacked. I didn't get drug around by the hair of my head or nothing, man. I mean, I was really part of the family then, when I was being bad and drinking. And then I said, okay, I got my answer. And so the next day, I didn't drink a beer or nothing like that. I had my answer, like, okay, I can be bad and I don't get in trouble, but I get in trouble for being good. Like, okay, so I'm glad I did that test.
For sure. For
Yep.
sure.
And the only reason why I snuck out the house, people say, well, you probably snuck out the house to go be with a guy or something like that. No, I snuck out of the house to go to church. But it kind of come in handy that we lived at 17 plus acres. So sometimes before she would get home, I would go off in the woods and I would just go admire the beauty and go down to the creek. And I love the water rippling and the trees. Go to places that you feel serene, that calms you down. Go to places that you see the beauty everywhere, where it's not just constantly stressful and abusive. You start feeling stressed, go enjoy something that you enjoy doing, walking with in nature, fishing, anything, just letting the breeze hit you or whatever. Thank you. Your dog's more annoying than the kids on radio. Well, Cash, yeah, some people say that, that children are annoying small people. But you got to look at how are you going to be bringing up the kids when they are being brought up? Are you going to let them come up to you and at an early age, if you notice this kid's doing something that it shouldn't be doing, then discipline them in the right way.
Yep.
And, then they learn.
Are you going to instill in your children at a young age that inappropriate behavior, regardless of what that inappropriate action is, still inappropriate? Are you going to let them get away with it and instill in your children the fact that inappropriate behavior is acceptable, or are you not?
Exactly. A lot of people think that it's cute when a kid goes and starts cussing out another parent, adult, or something like that. No, nip it in the bud while it's still young.
Really young and once or twice, that's okay, but there comes a point where you gotta let them know, no, you cannot say that, cannot say
Exactly. Exactly.
Like when my son was like 4 years old or 3 years old, and my dad asked him about Barack Obama, and he said, "Should I vote for him?" And my son turned around and looked at my dad, and he goes, "Him said fuck you. Him said fuck you to me." It was cute as hell. You know what I mean? But that was the only
Uh-huh.
time he ever said it. You know what I
it.
mean?
It's the only time I ever said it.
Uh-huh.
So I mean, So my dad,
Helps him
needless to
make
say,
his choice.
didn't vote for Barack Obama because him did say fuck you. Him said fuck you to me. My son's only 3 years old. My dad's like, "Oh, that son of a bitch! What'd you tell my grandson fuck you for?"
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh,
Crazy shit.
when you see a kid and they think it's so cute, you go ahead and let the kid come up and hit another kid or something. You nip that in the bud too. You don't just go and say, go back, hit the kid back or whatever. Don't do that.
Yeah, if you
Time
let your
out.
kids, if
Time
you
out.
let your kids or kids in general, if you let kids in general get away with shit that's not okay, they're going to grow up
You gotta
believing
discipline
that
them
this
the right
shit's
way,
not
though. You gotta
okay
discipline them
is
the right way,
okay.
appropriate way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And they-
beating your kids is not an appropriate way to punish your kids. But you know what?
Sometimes I believe they need a spanking. They might
Yeah,
need a
absolutely.
spanking, you know what I mean?
The five times,
I don't mean like sit there and beat on them or like that or anything, but sometimes they
yeah,
need a swat on the butt,
like the 5 times I got my ass whooped by my dad, the things I got my ass whooped for, I still haven't repeated.
I think that's one of the things that's wrong with
exactly.
the way kids are raised these days, like the younger
But
generation.
there's a difference between discipline
Yeah,
and abuse, people.
yeah.
They quit spanking them on the butt and just telling them it's okay or telling
Yeah.
them, just letting them get away with it and stuff, and it's not okay.
Like I seen this.
Yeah.
I seen this kid 2 days ago in Walmart screaming at the top of her lungs,
Yeah.
fucking freaking out because she wanted this package of fucking gummy worms or some shit. And
Yes,
her mom,
nature.
her mom turns around, looks at her, and she goes, "Okay, if you quit crying right now, I'll
Right,
let you
old
go."
lady.
Oh wow.
The fuck? No,
No.
don't take your fucking kid out of the car.
Because they know
Yeah,
they'll stop acting
exactly.
that way, and that's not okay. Because that's why the kid does it.
Because she's been doing it her
Yeah.
whole life.
She knows if she does it enough, her mom will say,
Just say,
"Ah,
Yeah.
I'll get you whatever you want, sweetie. I'll get you whatever you want. Just be quiet now, and I'll get you what you want. Then all of a sudden the kid's like starts pitching a fit at the store because okay, you done taught them that you'll get them whatever they want if they be quiet. So you go ahead. You're giving them rewards for misbehaving. You know.
How about just not taking them into the store at all? If you know that's what's going to happen when you take your kids into the store,
or have a talk with them before
Why?
you go in the store and say, okay, look,
I mean, for real.
this is what you can have, this is what you can't. So
This is
let's
what we're
have-
getting.
let's have-
Everything else we're not.
Let's have a plan when we go into the store. You know what I mean? So they're prepared and they don't have excuse to act that way.
Hell yeah, I know you don't give in, Mom.
Yeah.
You have to understand why you are disciplined too.
I
Absolutely,
Exactly.
Cash.
But they did wrong.
I remember that too later. Yeah, we had to pick out our own switches, and if it was not to their liking, we had to go back and get a bigger one. You know, you didn't want him to have to go back and get the switch.
Oh, that's perfect. Fucking that's nobody can say it better, Pinky. Nobody can say it better. You can't reward bad behavior either in children or adults.
Exactly.
Exactly.
I'm guilty of that myself. I am.
You can't even do that, you know, to a pet. You know, my son's dog is
Get to it. You
Yeah.
it had been abused, right? So it was a rescue and everything. So now the people that they got it from said, well, every time she goes outside, regardless if she pees or not, you need to give her a reward. So when she'll just run outside and then she won't use a bathroom and they give her a reward and everything, then she'll come in the house and she'll pee.
Yep.
I mean, it's like, excuse me, don't reward that behavior unless she does potty outside.
Because it confuses them, and they think,
Oh yeah, I don't like the leather belt. I don't like the whips. I don't like being shot at. I don't like being electrocuted. I don't like none of that stuff that I had.
just a swat on the butt, a light swat on the butt. Sometimes you get their attention. Sometimes.
Yeah, I could. Yeah, remember how we used to even smack our kids' hands? You know, like when they got around over there. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
You know, like no, don't touch that. You know, they'll look at you like what, and then then they leave it alone. You know, a lot of times. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. But and then I'm
something that they can play with, and that they're not supposed to. You know what I mean? So then they forget about trying to get what they're not supposed to have. And they'll go give them something that they can play with, change their mind. Get their mind off of it, whatever. Too.
And I'm gonna say this one more time again on here. I don't care what anybody else says. Like, I'm a firm believer that our country, when it came to children, went to hell in a handbasket as soon as they started handing out fucking participation trophies. Like, if you don't have to fight for something you want to win, then what's the point of doing it? Like, if there's not a winner, there's got to be a winner and a loser. That's the point of playing a game.
Right.
And if you just hand out these kids all these fucking trophies and ribbons and shit for just showing up, you're showing them right.
I actually am the one that won it, but everybody else gets the same thing I get.
Yeah.
Then what's the point?
Like my wife and I went to our nephew's baseball game last summer, so 2 summers ago, and I thought it was like, I don't know, probably like the 4th inning or whatever. And I looked at my sister and I was like, so what's the score? She's like, oh, we don't keep score. Then what the fuck are we doing here?
They don't keep score, huh? That's what That's not cool. Y'all got to know that a lot of people I see today. I mean, I'll go in over there and see that their kids they're running amok, but all they're doing is playing video games. They're not sitting down and
All right, Cash.
having a sit down and having a conversation with their kids. They're not.
On their birthday.
Basically, they're neglecting their kid because the video game's more important. Now, I'm not saying that, can't do video games some of the time, okay? I'm just saying when that's a precedence and you don't want to go in there and you get somebody else, hey, go in there and get the kid something to drink, or go in there and um, go and fix him something to eat, please. I'm playing a video game, please, just, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Stay safe. But I think, the impression the kids long for a personal relationship with their parents. They want their, to
They
bond with.
not only they just don't. It's not that they just want it; they strive for it.
Right.
Yep. When they see when they make the most they make you proud, that's what they're gonna want to try to work for is to see you be proud of what they did, And when what I mean, just like Kinky said, you can't reward bad behavior.
Yep.
It's kind of the same concept, like.
Yep. 100%.
Exactly.
Yeah.
100%. And if you're not down with that, then fuck you. You know what I mean? I mean, for real. I'm so sick of these millennial fucking children, whatever the fuck. I'll probably lose some subscribers over this, but I don't care. Like, I'm so sick and tired of these people complaining about a word, dude. I came from the generation, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. They might get your face broken, but they're not going to hurt me. You call me some certain words. You call me some certain words. You'll probably get your face broken, but that word didn't hurt me.
But you know, from it's physical. It's a physical, not just kidding.
You know what I mean?
Kidding.
And I mean that shit.
For real.
You notice, more kids that's during tone to they don't get outside and play as much. They don't have as much of an imagination. A lot of them don't even want to do arts and crafts and try to draw or nothing like a normal kid would do.
It's
They
because
want to just do video games or television or telephone or something like that. They are not wanting to get out there and
It's because
play sports or go fishing or nothing,
they're like,
yeah, it's because
you just want them to shoo away and leave them alone.
yeah,
so
it's because parents, like, their kids come in the room or whatever the fuck they're doing, and their parents don't want to be bothered. They hand them a fucking a tablet, a laptop, or phone, or whatever, and get out of here.
It keeps them out of their hair.
Go babysit yourself.
Yeah, and it's not
Exactly.
It's not doing them
With the
any-
back.
Yeah, we're bringing up materialistic, self-centered,
ignorant, I don't know. It's
like
sad.
when you just expect something, like me, I had to earn my street credit. It wasn't just given to me. Entitled.
Right.
We're raising these people. These kids that are coming up in what's up, Ella? These children that are coming up in age these days. They're entitled, indulgent, dumbass, can't handle the fucking truth. Everybody, like, you owe me this just because I have this name. What the fuck? You know what I had to do to keep my name and get the respect I got from my name? Like, you're not entitled to shit but the air you breathe.
Like your mom.
What do y'all think about the kids who no longer they'll say, well, what are you going to give me for me doing my bedroom?
I'm going to give you a whoop and ass whooping. Now get the fuck in there and clean your goddamn room.
Yeah, they're like, you're treating me like I'm a slave because I got to go in there and pick up my own room. Well, you made the mess.
Yeah,
well,
don't make the mess if you don't want to clean it up.
Here, how about this? Here's what I'll give you. You see that dresser you put your clothes in? You see that bed you sleep your ass on?
I supplied that, so
you see that. You see that computer, that cell phone, those video games, that fucking guitar, that bike, those roller skates, that fucking skateboard. That's what I'll give you for you cleaning your fucking room.
like be appreciative. Show you appreciate.
That's what you
'cause
get.
there's a lot of kids out there that don't have any of those things. So you
Yeah.
should be thankful for that. Grateful.
Yeah, so I know what I did with my kids when they were younger. I would sit down with them and help them pick up the toys, and I had a certain rule that they could only bring out 2 toys apiece to the living room, unless, like, if they were doing wrestling, they had the wrestling ring, they could bring out more wrestlers, because they loved the WCW and NWO and all that.
Yeah.
And so, then, but, they had that certain rule, so you cannot bring out a lot of toys until you put back your other toys, and then you can, so we would work together. And so when they got older, they just naturally anytime they got done with something, they put it up, so I never had that problem of all their stuff being strewn all over the room.
Yep. Yep.
Your parents said when you eat your face.
There you go.
I mean, they make the mess, and if you spill something, they need to learn that they need to pick it up. Don't cover it up with a whatever and then say, well, Mom will clean it up tomorrow.
Feel something in the kitchen, they just leave it there. I'm like, oh, it makes me so mad.
Yep.
Like, oh, clean your mess up.
Like, I even had my sons, I had a little place, and when they were smaller, I said, well, put your clothes right here in the corners. And so I had they allotted space for them to put their dirty clothes, so when I picked them up, to go wash them and stuff.
Yeah.
And and they learned from that. Later on, it progressed when they got bigger, that they had their own little hampers type of things, to throw away in the
You're not going to school with that?
Yeah.
Anything like that? No.
Yeah.
That's fine. Better not be.
But if they spilled something, they went ahead and cleaned it up. They didn't say, Mom, I spilled this, I'm sorry, No, they went and just said, I got to clean up my mess. I just spilled some milk or something, and it's okay.
Yeah.
And what are all these people, that if their kid spills their water or something, all of a sudden they blast the kid, but accidents happen, no need to cuss a kid out, no need to do that kind of stuff. Watch your behavior. I mean, you don't want the kid to have any kind of attitude, and if you're going to give the kid a bad complex, and you got to give the kid positivity. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's okay to make mistakes at times. We all make mistakes. We got to learn from it.
This is what I'm saying before I close this out tonight. Like, our country and other countries around this world, we are raising a generation of fucking pussies.
Yeah, it is. There is a difference between accountability and abuse. Yes, it is.
I mean,
You told your niece, cute old lady, that you're keeping all her stuffies.
so I mean, we keep going in the direction we're going, we're totally screwed.
Yes. I felt so sorry for a classmate at school. He couldn't help it that his parents had owned a little store, mom and pop type of store. And so every once in a while, just about every day, he was late for school. Of course, parents had to open the store, and then they had to get somebody to come in and watch it before they could get him to school, right? They couldn't help it, that he would be
Night,
late.
Mater.
And their life just made it where he's late. Every day, one of a certain teacher was always pounding him just because the parents brought him in late, but they did what they could about getting him there when they could. You know what I mean?
How is that the fucking child's fault?
I don't know, but that really bothered me a lot, seeing that kid be paddled and that kid have to stand on his tippy toes. That teacher beating him so hard with that paddle. It really burned me up. Thank you so much, Mater. I'm glad you came in there. Thank you so much. No, she needs to be able to know how to clean her up her own room, and she's going like that, messing up. Now, my boys did have a problem where, making up part of the bed, and I learned to accept it. Oh, I would go over there and say, "Let me show you something neater." Said, "See like this," and I had to be gentle when I went to correct them because they did their best about cleaning. They didn't do it sloppily. So just pull this up a little bit more. See how neat this is. And sometimes you have to do things like that so they know what you're really looking for.
You
They
actually have to teach
They know
them.
that they cannot clean up a room as good as us, you know what I mean, but they did really good. And
Yep.
so it's bad how the parents are just basically letting the TV be the babysitters of the kids or the cell phones. And plus, y'all got to watch out because, a lot of these video games, you get them online, right? And there's so many predators that would say that they're a kid their age. And there's also some programs that I even did a live on my channel about. It's been so long ago, I don't even know the name of it. But the schools have it where they could, they got the kids' classroom schedules on it and everything on that app, and there's people that don't even go to that school that can end up downloading that app, and they had put themselves as being a student, made a profile as if they're a student in that school, and they start talking to some of these other students. Hey, I'm in this class with this teacher, so they get to see which class each of the students are in with that program. Can you believe that? Your own kid is victimized where just about anybody could get that app and look at it and see which class your child is in during that certain time. These predators are doing that and they're putting themselves as being like a teenager themselves. And so they go off like, oh, I'm going to meet this cute guy. He's in my science class or something like that, and to kind of find out it's an adult waiting outside for him, and it's a little too late then.
Yep.
I've got to show her and not just leave her alone. Yeah, that's good, old lady. Exactly. Video games is a whole other whole game of perks. Exactly. Like, oh man, there was a game that one of my granddaughters was playing, and now she's like 17, 18 year old. So, but she's graduated high school. And I could not believe I was seeing some of the comments. And she said, but I don't pay attention to their comments. And someone was saying some of the sexual things. And she goes, well, I don't pay attention to it. And I'm like, how do I get this across to her mother? Her mother evidently didn't care about what she was seeing or what she was playing or anything. And it was really disgusting to me. And you can literally hear these other people talking and saying the words, so it was scary.
Here's what I know. Here's what I know.
Uh-huh.
This world is already so fucked up. We don't need people going out of their way to make it even more fucked up.
Exactly.
We just got to try to love one another right now.
And y'all don't forget that little thing how they go like that for a sign. You put your hand straight up like you got like all five, right? Then you put your thumb inside, and then you put your hand down like you're waving. That's the sign. Like, help me, I need help.
Can you repeat that, Darlene? Because I didn't quite hear it when I was coming up.
Okay, like you got your hand like just like you a wave situation like thing, right? You just got your palm up, well, all fingers up, right? So
Okay.
your thumb inside your finger, okay, like you're doing a number four, right? Then you close your palms down. You put your thumb in first.
Like a fist?
No, do your thumb inside first.
Your thumb inside first, and then
And then
over.
you do like that. Yeah, that's help me sign.
Okay.
So if you see that sign that you're doing right there, that is help me.
Okay. I'll teach that to my niece.
Yes, that's a sign, And they said do not approach if it's, because it could be a trafficker and you could be in more danger, but you can follow at a safe distance and call the police and whatever.
I see a kid doing that. I'm approaching. So I'm approaching the situation right then and there.
Yeah, if it's a kid, yeah. You did it.
Thank you, Pinky. I appreciate the compliments, sweetheart.
Yeah, you are, Tiny. You're doing good. Yeah, it's nice seeing you up there. Glad you got up in the box.
Yeah, I'm kind of brave now and then.
Yeah, girl, you're more than
Actually,
kind of
sometimes I
brave.
have to keep G2K company because nobody else is brave enough to come up here. So I've learned to come up and be there.
And
Good
yes,
night.
Pinky, that was shot right at you.
Even though Sugar Glider's in the background and everything, he still needs somebody in his panel.
Heck yeah.
Even
I
if you don't,
depend on you
even
guys.
if I don't say much
You're
and
good for
stuff.
that.
But
Oh, yeah. You're very good for that. Joining him on this panel. He's like, oh, 5-minute warning if nobody gets up here.
I know, and then I wait, and then I go up. And then he says, "Okay, Mom doesn't count."
Hey, you can't make that roll.
Funny.
But yeah, my niece has been, and G2K kind of knows about some of the stuff that I've been dealing with,
Huh?
where I live and such, and it's really hard because her mom doesn't teach her anything. She just yells at her and calls her names and threatens her,
Oh man.
and my heart just breaks. And so when her mom's not around, I've told her, I said, okay, you know what irritates your mom, do your best not to do those things. I said, I understand, you're a kid and everything, but you've got to learn, you know, um, not to do those things. And some of the things are stuff she needs to be doing, but, or things that she shouldn't be doing, like, but her mom just doesn't know how to talk to her and everything. She just screams and hollers, and
Most people don't know how to talk to their children
they
anymore.
don't know how to. And so, I've tried to demonstrate, and like when we do the dishes, I explain to her why we do the dishes the way we do them, and it's the more we procrastinate, the longer it takes us to get things done, and
You
today
don't.
it was like it was taking all my patience for her to get that outside. And it was just, there was a lot of toys, little toys that some other kids had thrown all over the place and stuff like that. And I said, just get them on the table, and I'm putting them in a bag, because I bagged all the toys and stuff that she picked up, and then I had her take some stuff that needed to go to the trash that the adults around here would not take out to the trash. Broken toys, and I it was like they just had them piled up.
If a child sees a grown up not doing something, why would that child want to do this?
Oh, I know, I know, I
What the
know.
fuck?
Like, you gotta explain things to kids.
And I told her, I said,
Yeah, you don't just
I told her, I
sit
said,
a
she
5-year-old
was
and tell them
telling
to
me
drive
how
you home.
tired she was and everything. And I said, you can say that when you're 70 years old. And I said, I'm 70 years old, and I'm still doing stuff around the house. And, I just said, you've got to do stuff. You can't just not do things. You can't just come up with, oh, I'm tired. I need a break. You know, I mean, I use that excuse now, but
Yeah, you do.
I, but I think I worked hard to earn that.
Hey, whether you earned it or not, you still use it all the time. I'm just saying.
Yeah, that's a good idea about a book tainted docket, how to talk to kids so kids will listen, and listen by Adele Faber and Elaine Maslish.
Yep, they do.
Kid-
Well, it's the
and
same
let-
thing.
let-
If you don't teach a child how to clean something, and you
How
go
the
tell
fuck are
a
they going
child,
to know how to
go
clean
clean
it?
your room,
You gotta tell them why.
and you go into the room, and it's like everything's all messed up, clothes everywhere, toys everywhere. What does clean look like if you don't know? And what do you mean put things away? And you know, okay, so I'll just cram stuff in the drawers and in the closet and
I was
under
a
the
crammer.
bed, and
I was
my
like,
room's cleaned.
put stuff into my
And
bed.
it's like, no, it's not. And that's why I told her, I said, I'm going to go with her through her shoes. I said, we're going to look at your shoes. We're going to see what shoes fit and which don't. That way, because she's got
And which
so
make
many
you
shoes.
fine.
I'm like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
And I said, we need to go through your clothes and see what clothes fit and what don't. And we'll fold them up and we'll put them away and, and
Give them to somebody else.
try to clean, straighten up some of the stuff so it's not visually insane.
Is enough. They feel like they're doing
Because if
something.
it's too much,
Right?
a kid will just go, I'm overwhelmed and I can't do it. And you just have to kind of walk,
Yeah.
and I'm going to walk her through everything. I'm not just going to say, go do this and then walk away.
Right. And see,
Um,
that's what at some point people just have expect the kid to understand and know what to do, and they don't have that example uh, given to them.
They,
and my sister, she'll just go in the room
Yeah.
and clean it up herself. And I'm like, no, I'm not gonna let her do it this time. You know, she's gonna have to let her grandbaby um learn, and I'll be there. I might have to sit in a chair once in a while, but I'll be in there. And there's some things what we can do is take to the kitchen table and sit there and work on it at the table and and talk it through. But I was really kind of upset at the parents because they kept her away all weekend when she could have been cleaning her room. And if her nana knew that she hadn't been home all weekend, um, her nana would be upset too. But I'm not going to tell the nana. That's going to be up to everybody else. I'm not going to be a tattleteller, but it might slip out. You never
There is no such thing as tattletelling when it's an adult talking to a kid. There's
That's
not.
right. No, 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 no. I'm not. Yeah, because I asked her. I said, "What have you been doing all weekend?" And she says, "Staying up late, watching TV, playing games." I'm like, "Uh-huh." And I wish
Yeah.
her mom was younger because I would be putting her over my knee and spanking her.
Hey, hey, you still
Awesome,
can.
Taylor. Awesome, Taylor.
She's pretty mean. I've seen her with her baby's daddy and everything, and she's beaten him up a few times.
You shared what stream? This stream?
I shared stream
Mhm.
titled as Reactive Children. She shared a stream titled as Reactive Children.
Oh,
Oh, you have a stream called that? Or you titled it as? Oh, I shared stream. Okay. It's it's late at night. It's almost midnight, so my brain is starting to.
Yep, and we're all getting out of here anyway. So there you go.
Dum, da, dum. Well, adios. Nice meeting you and talking to you, Darlene. Take
Nice
care.
talking to you. Nice talking to you too. I appreciate it.
And then,
Um,
then Mom and Inky, while you're still here, can you just go through the chat real quick and drop everybody's link once again? And Mom, can you get my Poetry's in Motion link and drop it one more time, please?
I will. Okay.
Okay, great.
Thank you guys for being here.
And
Thank
Bye,
you.
Sugar
Thank you, everybody.
Glider.
Nice to hear you. Talk to you.
thank you, Pinky. What's up, Pink Peony? If someone is grappling with repressed memories of abuse that occurred decades ago, are you still encouraged to report it?
Well, the bad thing is a lot of things people will not do nothing about it. They'll say that's years ago. We can't do nothing about it. That's what's so sad about that.
Okay, hang on. Hang on. You shared my stream. Okay, that's what you're saying. So, Pink Peony, very good question. Says, get to know if someone is grappling with repressed memories of abuse that occurred decades ago, are you still encouraged to report it? I would say it depends. It depends.
Depends if the statute.
Because if it's, I mean,
Depends if you want to go about it legally, or if you.
even let's say you are okay, and the statute of limitations has passed, I would say yes, report it. Absolutely report it.
Always
That
so they can have that record. They keep
even
the records. They keep
yes,
all records
even though you might not, even though the person that it's happening to or whatever, even though they themselves aren't going to get this justice that most people seek, they'll still be put, these people will still be put, it'll be put in their permanent fucking record. And so if anything else comes up again,
Then
they'll
have
be
that
able to
add
use
it.
that. They'll be able to use that to add that to the next case.
Absolutely.
And yes, absolutely.
Always report it.
Absolutely. Because I'm grappling with repressed memories right now myself.
Because when my stepdad wasn't charged, they kept all that stuff so that if he did it again, which he did, then they would have that to use against him to add to it.
Yep.
And
What's
it
up,
depends on
Muffin?
the situation. Like when in my situation, the state trooper, I mean the sheriff, that did not help me with the abuse situation when my husband was inflicted upon me. Also did not help me through whatever that past thing. So I knew that it wouldn't do no good to try to do anything.
Yes, absolutely, Pink Peony. Absolutely. Pink Peony says, great point. It will give credibility to prior cases, to future cases.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, absolutely. Any case that still falls within the statute of limitations. Absolutely.
Because some people are being investigated and they don't have enough to charge that person. So, you know what I mean?
Yep.
So it just so happened that,
Yep.
And it's my stupid state. Well, and when I was in Alabama, they said that was years ago. A person could have changed. It's a different case. Don't bring it. Don't bring it in there. That's your case, and they don't want to hear it whenever you do try to. And that's what's so sad about it when you try.
Yep. All right, Darlene. But I think we're all going to get out of here this time.
But you had some good points because that's very important for them to note stuff like that where they can, like when I
Absolutely.
was, yeah,
Yep.
exactly. Then they would have had a bigger case on somebody's repercussions on what they had done. But it's too bad when you go ahead and there's some people that won't do nothing about it. They just want to just sweep it under the rug. That's the problem we have with today's society and everything. People just want to sweep everything under the rug
Yep. But
and let it continue to happen.
Yep. But you should still try.
Okay, well, thank y'all, everybody. Thank you so much. Get to know. I appreciate it, bro.
You're
Talk to
welcome.
y'all later.
Bye, darling.
Okay, Darlene. That was Darlene Clark. Check out her book on Amazon. It's called Shattered Innocence. She definitely has one gripping fucking story, that's for sure. And I know everybody's stories are gripping on their own accord, but her story just gets me a little bit different.
It makes me think of all the kids that are going through that
Yep.
at that time. And
Yep.
every minute of every day, and it's horrible.
Save everything and take it higher power. Yep.
It's kind of hard sometimes.
Okay, Tandy, check your messages, okay, sweetheart. I sent you a message on your phone, or I'm about to, just so you know. And as like I was saying last night, um, I will closing this out from here on out for the next foreseeable future with a poem, probably the most important poem I have written. I think. They have written or have wrote. Either way, I did it. Where's it at now? Dang it. Oh, I'm calling you real quick, babe.
Oh, nice.
Just so you know.
Okay. Thanks for letting me know.
You're welcome. You're welcome, babe. You're welcome, babe.
Since our phones call people randomly anyway, you
Yep.
don't even know it.
Yep, that's right. So I'm trying to find it again here. Oh my lord. Come on now. Come on, dude. Oh my fucking land. I'm never gonna get there like this. This is ridiculous. Sorry, having some technical difficulties.
Damn phones seem to have a mind of their own these days.
Oh, yep. And also I kick ass. I'm just saying. Okay, so here we go. Whispers of Innocence. In the dawn of life, where dreams are pure, a world of wonder, hearts secure. Eyes wide open, filled with light, innocent dances day and night. But shadows creep as time goes by, a silent thief beneath the sky. The laughter fades, the tears begin as innocence wears thin. A child's trust so easily betrayed in a world where promises often fade. The gentle heart, once unscarred, now bears the weight of wounds hard. In the playgrounds of youth, where joy should reign, echoes of sorrow, whispers of pain. The game of life no longer fair, innocence lost beyond repair. Yet in the depths of every soul, a spark remains a distant goal. To reclaim the light, to heal the scars, to find the path back to the stars. For, for though the world may be unkind, a glimmer of hope we still can find. In acts of love and words sincere, innocence lost but not disappeared. So let us cherish the fragile light, protect the young with all our might. For in their eyes we see the truth, the precious gift of untainted youth.
Guys,
Have a good night, everybody.
give your kids hugs and kisses tonight. And yeah.
Say it louder, babe.
No.
Come on.
Oh, okay.
My wife said make sure you guys give your children hugs and kisses or your loved ones hugs and kisses tonight because you know what? We might not get a chance to do so tomorrow. And the fact of the matter is, there's some of us here right now in this world right now that won't get to do that tomorrow.
Absolutely. Well said.
Most importantly, do me the greatest favor of it all. Tell your friends about me because you're going to want to know. Get to know.
Go visit my son's channel.
And go visit my son's channel. Did anybody drop my son's channel? Uh-oh. Pinky, somebody. You're welcome. Later, Martine.
Bye, Martine.
Have a great night, everybody, or don't. Thank you, Nature Sounds. I appreciate it. And to all my haters out there, guess what? Fuck you.
Keep on hating.
Yeah.
Sound good.